Hello, everybody. Welcome to Win with Vince. My name is Vince. Yakshamash. My name is Vincent. Nice to meet you. I shake hand. Welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. It's called What to Invest in with Donald Trump as president. What? Donald is our king and leader, glorious leader, for the second time. If you were born in the last 3 years, then he is your first Donald president called Donald. Welcome. And, if you were born in the last 12 days, welcome to the world, little one. Donald Trump is your president of the United States of America. If you were born somewhere else in one of the other 200 countries or something like that, then just forget about it. Also, you're probably not listening to this little newborn kids. I can imagine being I'm the kind of guy that interviews a newborn. It's like, what do you think of the current economical situation in Ecuador? I wouldn't even know how to answer that, to be honest. I'll be like, it's Ecuadorian. That's me as a grown-up answering it like that. Donald Trump the U.S. is an interesting case, right? So in the United States of America, which is the name of this glorious land we live in. Let's hang on. I know what's needed here. Just 1 second. Da 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 da. We're gonna play. I'm gonna play a United States anthem. There we go. There we go. Okay, that was a little bit of a sound effect for you there. You have one man who can sign an executive order, and Trump has done that. He's signed more executive orders in the last 12 days, I think, than the entire Biden administration or the Biden administration has in, 4 years? Something like that? How long was he president? How long was my president? 4 years. It's crazy. 12 days this man's been in office. Granted, most of those, things that he signed was, most of the executive orders he signed was overriding Biden's executive orders, or a lot of them were. Basically being like, this is garbage, what you did for the last 4 years, President Joseph Biden is total and utter rubbish. I love how he talks also with his hands. Like if he's holding a microphone, he's talking like that. He'll be following. I wonder, once someone should give him one of those TikTok mics, those stupid Rode mics. I don't know why they do that. Just get a shotgun mic like this. It's super easy. Cheap. Those Rode mics are super expensive. They'll be like, so as you can imagine, the United States, we're going to build a wall. We're going to build this great wall. It's going to be huge. Jumping all over the show. One man can rule over 400 million people. How many people live in the United States? 400 million, something like that. I think that's insane. I'm half Swiss. Okay, so I'm half South African, half Swiss, for those that didn't know. Now you know. And in Switzerland, well, first of all, Switzerland is the oldest direct democracy in the world. What does that mean? Is you vote on things, but everybody votes on everything, right? So, gosh, we can vote. I don't remember what the last big vote is, but when you live in Switzerland, you have votes on what happens on a federal level, like in the US, what happens with the big government. You vote then also on what happens on a cantonal level, which is on state level. And basically, you can vote whatever you want. If the majority agrees with you, then that comes into effect. There's no one who can override your vote. You can't say, if it's up for a vote, this is the people decide what happens. If the federal government doesn't like it, but the people like it, it goes into effect. This is how it works. That's what happened with, we needed new jets, right? So Switzerland needed a bunch of new jets because we've got FA-18s, Super Hornets, man. They're fast as all hell, man. You know what I mean? Man, there's some fast planes, man. That's probably how that's the salesman selling the F/A-18s to the Swiss government back then in the 90s. Man, these planes are fast as hell. What do you want to do? Yeah, we want to protect our airspace. And be like, man, you can protect the airspace 5 times over, man. You know what I mean? You only need 5, but tell you what, give you a good price. You buy we have originally. We had like 20 or something. We have 18. They 2 got lost during training. When I say got lost, they crashed, I think. Reason for that, one of them was horrible shame. There was a rookie pilot, and Switzerland's very mountainous, so they train in mountain warfare, flying very low and all that kind of stuff. And there was a system fault, and the radar, there was like lag or there was a delay or something like that, and he was flying in like fog in a cloud, couldn't see where he was going, relying on his systems, and the systems failed and crashed right into a mountain face. Boom, dead. Which is insane. Since then they've changed a bunch of things. So there was radar control, or the tower. I don't know. There was something going on. In any case, it was a big catastrophe. I was in the army at the time, actually. I was in the Swiss army at the time. We heard about it, and then everyone had their little thingy in their beret sticking out. You do that when, as a sign of respect to your fallen colleague. Kind of sad. Anyway, Switzerland is a direct democracy, which means that if we want to vote on getting new planes, we will damn well vote on getting new planes. And Switzerland wanted to replace the planes recently. Replace our good old boys, just them good old boys, with new planes. And the Bundesrat, which is the government, then wanted to get Saab Gripens, whatever you want to call them. Now, keep in mind, Switzerland is one of the richest countries by reserve value in the world. Switzerland has so much wealth, and the salaries here are the highest. I would say all in all put together, okay, we don't have our GDP isn't as high as, for example, China, right? China or the US, but for a tiny ass country, Switzerland is pretty strong economically, and Switzerland can afford to buy pretty much anything that they want on the market. Nothing is too expensive, and we decided for Saab Gripens is what our Minister of Defense decided would be the best plane to replace the F/A-18s with. Now, don't get me wrong, Saab Gripens are a fantastic aerial vehicle, as us in aviation enthusiasts like to say. I don't know, I like planes, but I'm not an aviation enthusiast. I mean, I am. Anyway, Saab Gripens are a fantastic multi-role fighter, but they are by no means, a Eurofighter Typhoon, for example, which is what all our neighbors have. And in any case, with all the 5th generation, the Sukhoi, the Su, whatever the Russians have flying around right now, the F/A-18, I don't think a Gripen would, do very well, in my opinion. I think we need faster, better, more advanced aircraft. Anyway, I voted yes, because I really wanted new planes, and I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know, they could have said anything. I would have been like, that's very cool. I want it. They had an offer also to buy Eurofighter Typhoons, which is made in the EU. It's by all our neighbors. Switzerland now, of course, notoriously isn't a part of the EU. And we went for a Swedish plane instead. Sweden has a very special thing with the E. They're EU, but not really, but they are. I don't know. They use their own currency. They don't use the euro. So, but I wanted the new planes because I thought it was hella cool. But the Swiss people voted no. So we didn't replace the F/A-18s. We still got them good old boys flying around. Then there was another vote not too long ago, and they voted to get F-22 Raptors. And I was like, hell yeah. Fuck yeah, bro. Because that's just cool. It's like one of the most advanced planes on Earth right now. So hell yeah, I would be down for that. But they did that, and I think they put an order in, and we're going to get brand new F-22 Raptors, which is kind of cool. So instead of going for the European alternative, our neighbors, we decided to look at the United States and be like, we will have what they are having. What is this, Mr. Trump? Oh yeah, F-22 Raptor. It's very cool. We want it, yeah. And I think that's great. Excuse me for picking my nose. I think that's fantastic that Switzerland did that. I'm very proud, as I'm a proud Swiss boy. I think it's great. So anyway, this got so sidetracked so fast. So Trump, back to what Trump is doing. He slapped a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, which I think is fine. You have a lot of stuff coming in from Mexico, drug-wise. Mexico didn't want to deal with it. So, and by the way, again, I am a centrist person. I believe I am in the center. I am not left nor right. I think I'm I don't even know what I am on the political spectrum, if I'm left-leaning, right-leaning, but I would say I'm common sense. I'm a common-sensical person. And I believe, what Trump did there was the right thing to do. Mexico has gone unpunished for far too long for everything that they have let into the United States. Drugs, people, immigrants, whatever it is, I think that's a good thing. Of course there are Mexican families, and of course people are going to be affected by this. But I think the majority is going to be affected in a good way, and the minority is going to be affected in a negative way. And the thing is, people always want to run a country based on what the minority wants and disregard what the majority says. It's so ridiculous. People just think about their feelings. This is the whole campaign against Trump was all about, but he doesn't want to, he's against abortions. Okay. First of all, look, yes, bad. Abortion's good, banning abortion's bad. Abortions aren't banned though. They're still legal on state level in the US, in many states. But people are like, well, because Americans are lazy, we don't want to travel for that, or, we can't travel for that. And that is sad in many cases, but it's a minority. You're saying, I don't want to freaking drive a car. I don't want to ever go on the road or go outside because, 0.5% of people get into car crashes. So why do you even drive a car? I mean, it's the same kind of logic that's applying here. You have to think to yourself, yes, this sucks. But if we have this president for 4 years and he puts into place what makes America a strong country, and he puts his foot down with the world leaders, and he actually gets the US into a higher rank, with the world, then down the line, you can still vote abortions back in. You can still vote for a president who's for abortions. And there's going to be, and this is where you have to stop being so left and right, and it's like not a team sport, my friend. This is people's lives. But you have to think logically. You can't think with your emotions. What if I need an abortion, Yeah, it sucks for you maybe, and I'm sorry if that really does ruin your life, which it doesn't in many, many, many cases. In most cases, it doesn't ruin your life, not getting an abortion. If it's medically needed, I think 90% of the states won't turn you away. This is the crazy thing. People are playing on this 10% of the time kind of a thing and saying like everything that Trump does is bad because 10% of the time. It's rubbish. Anyway, I'm ranting. I think it's really ridiculous though. Sorry. Trump he's doing good things economically, if you can say that. And he's putting his foot down with Mexico. Canada, look, to be honest, I know Mexico, I know about what goes on, what's coming across the border there. I know that what I've heard, like everyone, that's what I know. About Canada, I'm not even sure. The thing is, right, okay, so what's so crazy to me is in Mexico, a lot of the cocaine comes across the southern border. Because cocaine is easily produced in South America, and Central America, it grows, you make it from the coca plant, which grows, it just grows. It just grows. Everywhere you go, it's everywhere. No. It's very common. Sorry, kind of gaining my train of thought here. Right, so you can make it very easily, is what I'm saying, in South America. Not so easy in the US, but the thing is, in the US, synthetic drugs are easily made, right? Most synthetic drugs in the United States come from the United States, which is kind of funny. And I think fentanyl also, a lot of it comes from Canada, but most of it comes from the US, you know? So he's putting these 25% tariffs on Canada. I don't even know for what. I know from Mexico, I can imagine it's drugs and it's immigration and stuff like that. Mexico's actually said, okay, we will put the army to the border. There we go, and they will look. They won't, you know, because if you go to a Mexican border now, you've seen it in movies. I see it on Google Maps. I see, you know, not memes, but I see videos of it. The U.S. border is fortified as hell, and the Mexican border, there's like one guy called Carlos sitting there. He's like, hey, do you have drugs? And there's like this heavily tattooed, like Russian prison tattoo guy, bald, 3 meters tall, just as wide. He's like, no, I don't have drug. And Carlos is like, okay. Then he gets to the US and they're like, man, how the hell did you get over there? What are you doing here? We're like, I want to become ballet dancer. Not belly, ballet is what I said. I don't believe you. Pull down your pants. You know, kind of. Anyway, Mexico's doing something about it now, and Trump said that's good. Giving them a tariff break, I would say. Which, you know, it was about time that somebody just did something about the shit that's going on. Also, Trump, you know, I don't know about Canada, but what they're importing, all the bad stuff, that's probably maple syrup, eh? Probably Trump is saying, we're going to invade Canada. It's going to be great. We're going to stop the import of all maple syrup in Canada. Export of maple syrup. We're going to burn down all the maple trees. We'll make sure no maple syrup gets back into the United States. No more sugar diabetes. Canada's like, what the hell are you talking about? Eh? You just, if you want a Canadian accent, you just say eh all the time, eh? And I basically, what I'm trying to say is that I think the tariffs are a good idea for Mexico. I'm not quite sure about Canada. I'm quite sure about Canada, but we'll see about that. Now, Trump hasn't just put tariffs on Mexico and Canada. He's put a 10% tariff on Chinese goods, which is interesting because 10% is nothing. So even if Chinese goods become 10% more expensive, they'll still be cheaper than American-made parts, right? I mean, if you have a car, let's say you've got a cheap little, I don't know, you've got a cheap car you want to fix. You're going to go down to AutoZone. Are you going to buy the $25 made in America part? You're going to buy the, you know, part that costs $10 from China. Now with a 10% tariff on it, it costs $11. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? You're still going to buy the Chinese part. Be like, man, you people are stupid. The thing is, though, that the American government makes more money off of it. Beep, boop, beep. It's interesting, man. It's politics. Politics is funny. Maybe I should become a politician. Who'd vote for me? I sure as hell would. Because I want to be that guy. I want to be politics man. I want to be the king of America. No, I could never become American president because I'm not American. Or I wasn't born in the US. Born in the USA. But I could have a son there. And he could be president. You know what I mean? Elon Musk is South African. Elon Musk was born in South Africa. My girlfriend asked me the other day. He said, why didn't he become president? I said, because he's South African, you know? And you can't become Elon's kind of screwed because he can't become South African president either. First of all, because he probably doesn't have a passport anymore. But second of all, he's white. You can't become president right now if you're white. Or the majority of the population won't vote for you because of, apartheid. And people are trying to get back at white people for that and basically saying, like, you know, you can't get a job and you can't become president, sir. Goodbye. So anyway, speaking of South Africa, Trump also stopped. Ooh, that was kind of cool. That was a super bike. Sorry. Trump suspended aid over land reform in South Africa. Now, South Africa has the right, the government, to confiscate land without compensation. That's what they do. And basically that's kind of saying like we want to give land back to black people, land that was taken from our forefathers. The land was taken away from us, from the forefathers. Ne? I think it's wild. I think it's really wild. People just take the land away because, you're black and you can just take the land if you want to. And be like, no, this is where my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather grew up, so this is mine. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to accept it. Now, the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, of South Africa, has said that it's not happened yet, but has defended it as constitutional, which is basically just saying... It's to appease his voters. He's basically just saying, we know you want it and we agree with you. So vote us again. But we're not going to do it. But we agree with you. Which, it's like, why? How did you become president again? Oh, that's right. Because it's corrupt. And that's why the US is stopping aid. South Africa is also, it's this weird thing, man. I mean, it's openly corrupt. They are an openly corrupt government. And they run to the EU and they run to the US for money every time. Of course, Sweden gives them money every time they ask. They say, oh, you poor African country. Yes, of course, take all my money. Here is 250 billion Swedish krona, which is like €5. I don't know why the krona is so bad. Swedish crowns. It's probably not. It's an over-exaggeration. But, and South Africa is like, yeah, thank you. And then like a year later, they'll be like, Sweden... Man, we lost. We need more money. And Sweden's like, what? I've just given you 1 billion krona. They're like, yeah, but it's not lost. We're not corrupt. What happened actually was it was stock market. Bitcoin. She went down and now she's gone. So we need more. Like that. I mean, the ex-president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma. Now, if you know Trevor Noah, which you probably do, you will probably have heard of Jacob Zuma, who famously could not pronounce his membership figures for the ANC. I think he said it was like 170,000, something like that, members of the ANC, or 17,000. He said 768,670 or some crazy shit like that. I think he's dyslexic. I'm not making fun of it. But dyslexia is what you look for in a president, obviously. That's probably the first thing you look for. You're like, okay, who am I going to vote for? Is this guy dyslexic? No. Pass. Me at least, right? I must be the only one. So basically, Jacob Zuma, let me tell you a little story time here. Jacob Zuma built a house. And on that house, he built a pool. Now, he is president. He wanted a pool on his property. Fair enough. How much do you think that pool cost? Right? It was a 25-meter pool. What do you think that cost? 25K, 30K, right? Wrong. It cost $1.5 million, I think. And you think to yourself, like, fuck, and is it a gold pool or something? Like, what the hell? No, it's just a normal pool. But he gave the contract to his cousin, or like a relative of his. Which obviously, he was overcharged for. And of course, it's not his own money, because presidents earn a very humble salary in South Africa. But somehow, Jacob Zuma had millions to give him. And whose money do you think it was? Yes, it came from the public. It was taxpayers' money. So basically, the taxpayer in South Africa paid for Jacob Zuma's pool. Keep in mind, South Africa has a poverty rate of about 40% or something like that. 40% of people live under the poverty line in South Africa. Those hardworking people paid for this man's pool. 90% of those under the poverty line don't even have a proper house, 4 walls. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's just give this guy a pool, I guess. It's horrible, man. It's horrible. The world is unfair. But I think it's great that they stopped suspended the aid to South Africa, because South Africa now, they can learn something from it, hopefully, and become less corrupt, inshallah, as they say, right? He's also ending tax credits for EV owners in the US, which is great. Elon Musk said that's a fantastic thing. He backs it. And you might think to yourself, like, well, that's weird. Doesn't Elon Musk make money off that? No. You might think because of Tesla, but Tesla's main selling point is autonomous driving, believe it or not. How interesting is that? Elon Musk wasn't interested. He said, yeah, it's fine. / tax credits. I think in the beginning they were all about EVs and like electric cars and stuff like that. But since the technology has advanced so much, it's become more about autonomy and autonomous driving in a Tesla, which is a fantastic point. It's crazy. I never even thought about that. It's what this is going to affect most is the American car market. General Motors, Ford, those people, they're the ones going to be affected, and the owners of such cars. Because if you want to drive an electric car these days, you'll probably go for what's cheapest. You don't care if it's Tesla or not. Tesla makes affordable cars, yes, but in Europe you'll probably buy a Volkswagen, a French car, Renault, or BMW, Audi, Mercedes, whatever. In the US you're probably going to go for a GM or a Tesla, right? Also in Europe, Tesla, of course. That's funny, actually. Trump said he doesn't see America. I never see any American cars. It's very unfair. Every time in Europe, I never see an American car. Mr. President, it's not because Europeans don't like American cars. They like Tesla very much, but they just don't like driving around in a Chinese-made hunk of plastic. Okay? Like a Chevy Volt, for example. The most useless car in the world. Just saying. So, Europeans would rather buy cheaply made European cars because they're generally safer, and will last longer. Or a Tesla, which is just in its own category. It's not even a car, to be honest. I don't even think of Tesla as an American car. I think of Tesla as just like they're not even associated with a country. You know what I mean? Interesting. Anyway, what to invest in with Trump as president. I think you should invest in them good old boys. Oil, energy, and defense stocks. Like Lockheed Martin Raytheon, man, Make Area 51 great again. Yeehaw! I think what you probably don't want to invest in right now is EV stocks and green energy. Invest in blue energy, my friends. No, invest in black gold. What can I say, man? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It didn't turn out quite as I wanted it to. It took me 3 takes to do it, but I hope you enjoyed nevertheless. Please subscribe, follow the podcast, and watch all my other episodes. Okay. Thank you very much. Just some good old boys. Never mean no harm.